I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about I don't feel pretty enough for him. Well, have you ever been dating a guy and not felt attractive enough for him, where you were feeling insecure? Maybe you were looking at pictures of his ex-girlfriend, or saw him looking at other women, or he made comments about other women, and it didn't make you feel too good. It starts to hurt, really, because you start to think, well, obviously he doesn't feel like I'm good enough, and then you start to wonder, should I be with this person? Are they going to leave me? You start to have these fears of abandonment, and it could really affect a relationship if you don't feel like you're good enough for that person, you know? Now, guys do get like this too, and we do have issues with not feeling attractive enough for a woman. And if you ladies didn't know this, a lot of times what guys will do when they're younger is give their buddy a hard time. And so they'll constantly say things like, oh, she's out of your league, don't waste your time, she's never going to go for you. And it comes under the guise of, oh, some good-natured ribbing or teasing or whatever. But, you know, the underlying issue going on there is insecurity for themselves. And so they don't want their buddy to go out and be dating attractive girls if they can't do that. Now, it's not right to do that, of course, and it's not healthy to try and knock somebody else down so you can feel good about yourself, but that is what a lot of people do. So ladies, understand that guys often feel that way too, that they don't know if they're good enough to go over to you if they see a beautiful woman, to go over and approach her and, you know, face rejection. That could be really scary. Also, there's a biological component of safety where you're approaching a woman, she has a boyfriend, he could bash you over the head with a stick, right? You know what I mean? So, biologically, of course, now that we have society and there's rules in place, it's less likely to happen like that, but it could, okay? So, just trying to help you ladies understand, guys often feel like this too from time to time. Now, obviously, our insecurities are going to be exploited by different magazines and corporations that are trying to sell products. They want us to buy the product so we feel a certain way, so we look the way their product is supposed to make us feel, right? Because that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to sell us on something. Oh, buy these clothes, if you buy this jacket, or you buy these Yeezys, if you get those, you'll just get shot, right? Somebody will probably just murder you. But, you know, that's why we often buy labels, right? Because we feel like if we're wearing a certain brand, then we're affiliated with that label, and that's a really nice label, you know, in our minds, obviously. And so we do all these things to feel a certain way. And honestly, the root of it has to do with trauma in our childhood, in our early life, where we didn't get a lot of love and attention and affection, so we start to become insecure. Now, there could be a lot of different ways that we're affected by that, but if you're insecure, and there are obviously different levels, you know what I mean? You're not always going to be extremely insecure. Some days you're going to feel good. Some days you're going to feel terrible. Some days you're going to feel amazing. And so, you know, most people kind of fall into a range, I would say, right? Where if you're really secure with yourself, then most likely you're going to be on the secure range. And, you know, you're going to be less often to have days where you don't feel too good about yourself. But it's natural and it's normal not to have days where you don't think you're very attractive, you wonder why your partner doesn't want or would want to be with you and leave you for somebody else. You see who they've dated or looked at, you know, a recent picture of their ex, or their ex gets brought up and you think, oh, she was really pretty. I don't know why he would want to be with me instead of her. Those things are going to happen. But when it becomes a persistent pattern that is interfering with your relationship to the point where it's causing significant problems, you have to be aware of it and you have to try to work on it. Okay, I understand a lot of you ladies out there may have not had your dad around, and that really does suck. And it's not fair. And it truly isn't fair that something that happened to you when you were like 8 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, really affects you at 25, 30 years old. It's not fair that these things happen to us. But that is what happens with a trauma, and you have to deal with it. You have to be aware of it and make changes. Because if you don't, you're just going to continue that cycle over and over and over again, and you really don't want to do that either. Because, when you're feeling insecure and you're doubting that maybe your boyfriend finds you attractive or he's going to leave you for somebody else, what happens is that takes you out of being present with him. Think about it. If you're at lunch and you're having a good time and you're laughing with him and joking with him and you're having a nice day, and all of a sudden a really pretty waitress walks by, and then he looks at her and he checks her out, and you see it. If you're feeling secure about yourself, you're going to be like, oh yeah, she is really pretty. I can see why he's looking. But if you're insecure and you've been hurt like that time and time again, you're going to be like, I saw that. What are you doing? Why are you looking at her? Why are you checking her out? Now, of course, you don't want to be disrespectful, but let's be honest. When you get into a relationship, it doesn't mean you die. You're not dead, your eyes work, and you're going to be attracted to other people. It doesn't mean you're going to act out on it, but you're going to be attracted to other people, and that's okay. Just don't be disrespectful. As a matter of fact, that makes me think of a woman that I did a Skype with last week. She was just starting to date this guy. Things were going pretty good. She had some weird vibes about him. And one day, she's laying down on the couch with him, just kind of being affectionate, and he is looking on his Bumble account, checking his messages while she's laying in his lap. I mean, that is just disrespectful and rude. And if somebody's going to do that to you, you can imagine what they'll do behind your back. So, obviously, there are going to be different extremes. But, the point is this. You have to understand that if your insecurities are coming over constantly in your relationship, it's going to affect your ability to stay present with your partner, to be trusting with your partner. And I've got a really good email that you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So, this email is from a woman who is in her mid-20s, and she was dating a guy that was a little bit older than her, okay? So she says, "Hey Craig, I am so excited to finally be writing you. After watching your videos for a few months and learning a ton, I finally decided to do my first email coaching. My name is Emily, and I'm 26 years old, and I want to come to Florida and marry you." Well, you have good taste. If that's not possible, maybe you can help me get my ex back. All right, well, let's try. Let's start with that, okay? She said, "LOL, I dated my ex for almost 2 years. My problem is that I'm pretty insecure. After watching at least 100 of your videos, I realize how challenging my childhood was. When I was about 7 years old, I saw my father kissing another woman." Ooh. Wow, that would be tough. "My mother was at work, and my father thought I was asleep." That guy's even more disrespectful than the Bumble guy. Jeez, he's bringing a woman to his house while this kid's sleeping. "I was so scared I ran back to my room. My mother must have found out because a few months later, I can't really remember the timeline, My mother and father had a few blow-up arguments. My father left my mother to be with this other woman. I remember my mother was sad for a very long time. Probably years. I would catch her crying by herself all the time. I could always tell she was sad. Geez, that's terrible. So you can see where some of your insecurity might be coming from. You had your father, well, first of all, you saw him with this other woman, and I mean, I can't even imagine what you were thinking. You were probably so confused and like, what is going on? Not realizing mom's at work and like, what is this? I don't understand. You know, you're 7. That's so little. And then to see your mom crying all the time and sad, that would be very traumatic, and that would really have a big impact on your ability to trust men. Okay? I remember overhearing my mother on the phone with my aunt, and I would try to spy on what was going on. You remember doing that as a kid, like spying on your parents? You were spying on your mom to figure out what was going on, huh? I knew he had left her for another woman. My ex was a really good-looking guy. I would occasionally catch women looking at him while we were out. One time, a girl came over to him and tried to give her number to him when I went to the restroom. Oh, wow. Now that woman, she's really got some cojones. He said he gave her a fake number, but about a week later, I saw he had a blocked call on his phone. He did not pick up, but it made me so angry. Okay, so, did he give her a real number? You don't know, because it was blocked. But why would the woman block her number? Maybe it was the other woman, maybe not. It's hard to know. He would go out with his friends occasionally. Nothing big, but it would make me so anxious and tense. I went to sleep until he came home. So I can imagine what that was like. You're laying there, stressed out, scared, confused, wanting to know where he's at, wanting to know what he's doing, wanting to know if he was seeing another woman. And so by the time he gets home, you're just angry and you're already like ready to jump down his throat. So that would really affect the relationship. As the relationship went on, I started finding myself getting angry over small things. If his phone got a notification, I would get mad. If he wanted to go out with friends, I got mad. One time, I got mad because he wanted to take his mother shopping. I know, it sounds crazy. It was making me crazy. Yeah, it really was. You know, you were obviously always afraid he was going to leave you, and so it was causing you to try and pull him close. You feel disconnected and scared, and then ultimately it winds up pushing him away. But I was always afraid he would leave me for another woman. Yeah, that's a big issue right there. You're not good enough. Maybe you identified with your mom. She wasn't good enough. So dad left because she wasn't good enough. And so that's what you interpreted. And now you're feeling that same thing. And it's like you're reenacting that drama that your mom did. But, you know, as an adult, if you really step back and take a look at the picture, the big picture, why did dad leave your mom? Was there a lot of other things going on in that relationship that you didn't know about? Obviously. You were little. You're not aware of those things. You didn't even understand that kind of relationship yet. Who knows what their relationship was like? Maybe they weren't intimate anymore. Maybe your mother had done something to push your father away. Maybe she was controlling or manipulative. You know, I'm not trying to say that your dad can't or shouldn't take responsibility for what he did, because obviously it had a big impact on your family and you. But, you know, let's be realistic and look at the big picture. There was a lot more to this situation than this woman was prettier and dad left his family and his wife because there was a prettier woman. If he did, then that would indicate that he's extremely shallow, okay? No healthy person, or even, I think, remotely healthy person would really leave their family and their wife because of somebody prettier. I would think there would have a lot of other problems going on there that would be in the mix as well. So, she said, not to sound arrogant, but I know I'm a very attractive woman. And she is, because she did include a picture. But I've seen the woman he's dated before me, and they're all very pretty. I just feel so hurt and angry inside all the time. Like I'm not good enough, not pretty enough. I was so scared all the time that I pushed him away. I can't tell you how many fights I caused. Yeah, I could see that happening. You're not feeling too good. Anytime you're feeling disconnected, it's taking you back to that trauma. You're reliving the trauma. You, for some reason, interpreted that dad left mom because she wasn't pretty enough. Maybe you overheard mom say that one day. Maybe you heard your aunt say that to your mom one day. Oh, maybe he left you because that other woman's prettier. You know what I mean? That somehow that got into your mind, and so now you seem to think that's the root of what's going on here. But, you know, a lot of women feel like they're going to be left for a more attractive woman. Does it happen? Sure. It does happen. I mean, you can't say that it doesn't happen sometimes. Is it likely to be for that reason alone? No. It's probably more of an indication with a problematic relationship and an opportunity to date somebody else, right? Instead of really trying to commit and work on the issues. So, she goes on to say, he always tried to reassure me that he found me beautiful, but I never believed him. Yeah, see, there's a lot going on there that has to do with what happened in your past and your childhood, and so you don't even believe him. And so he's probably telling you over and over and over again, and it doesn't sink in. So finally he just keeps getting frustrated with you. When he reassured me, the feeling never lasted long. He finally broke up with me a few months ago. He said he couldn't do it anymore. He was tired of the fighting. Yep, that's what I figured would happen. He said he really cares about me, but that I have to get a handle on things. Am I crazy to think that I'm not pretty enough for him, to the point where I let it destroy my relationship? Okay, well, in this situation, obviously, you know that you're a very attractive woman, and, you know, a lot of people, I'm sure, tell you that, but it doesn't matter because you don't believe it. You could hear it all day, every day, but you don't believe it. Why? Because this is really about that attachment trauma and that insecurity. If I was you, what I think I would really do is talk to your mom and your dad separately about their relationship. Maybe your dad will have an honest conversation with you and say, you know, you could say, Dad, I need to know what made you cheat on mom. What was your relationship like before you split up, before the other woman was involved? What happened? And maybe just flat out ask your dad, Dad, did you leave my mom because she was prettier? Because the other woman was prettier? Did you leave? I'll bet your dad says no, that had nothing to do with it. But that story you've told yourself has had such a huge impact on you that it's affecting everything that you're doing with, you know, this guy and I'm sure other guys that you've dated. So I would work through that. Because let me tell you something, ladies, okay? I talk with guys in breakups all day, every day. I got I would say probably 60% of the people that I work with are guys. And they tell me all the time that the ex that they're devastated over is not the prettiest girl they ever dated. And I can tell you, the Applebee's girl that broke up with me, was definitely not the prettiest girl I have ever dated. She was a very pretty girl, don't get me wrong, but not the prettiest. There were, numerous other girls that I've dated that were prettier than her, but I was attached. There was something about that person that I really loved. And, while guys do, obviously look at looks and consider looks, when they're attracted to somebody, it's that bond that we have, that connection, that relationship that you have with them, the qualities you possess. I mean, that's a big part of it, is the qualities you possess. You should hear where the guys talk about these women that they've dated. Oh, she's so great because she does this, or she's got such a big heart, or she does these things for me, or whatever it is that made him really connect with her. He appreciates that, and he loves that. And so she's beautiful to him, even if she's not the prettiest girl. I mean, I should do a poll, but I'm willing to bet most guys would say this was not the prettiest girl. So ladies, rest assured, while we obviously look for looks, just as you do, and that's okay, there's a lot more into it than just looks. We love a woman's personality, who she is the energy she has is so important. When you can just connect with somebody and bond with them, and that, really truly makes you fall in love with that individual person. And, you're worried about things like, is he going to leave you for another woman? And I think that's the biggest thing for you, is that you're afraid he was going to leave you for another woman, just like your dad did to your mom. And you equated it with, I don't feel pretty enough. So that's what I would explore. Look at the relationship with your parents. Maybe ask your mom and dad what happened there, and explore that and see what they say. But ladies, the chances of your guy leaving you for a woman that's prettier just because she's prettier are slim. If this man really cares about you at all, he's not going to do that, okay? He's going to love you and that relationship. It's when these fears, these irrational fears that you have, that cause you to get angry and lash out because a cute waitress walks by, and then you start a huge fight. And not, that I'm not saying it's okay to be disrespectful. You want to be respectful of your partner. But, any little thing sometimes can set someone off that's really been hurt in that way before, and they're particularly sensitive to it. So just try and be aware of these things, and know that guys fall in love with who you are as a person, the energy, your presence, the qualities you have, the things that you do to enrich their life and make their lives better. And if they leave you for just looks, you don't want to be with that guy anyway, because that's not going to last, right? So, if you want to get my help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do Skypes, I do emails, and if you got to get with me right away, I do offer emergency Skype coaching. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.